The retail sector has taken a knock in the month of July, reeling from the effects of the third wave of COVID infections and the civil unrest that took place in the month. Stats SA data shows retail trade sales decreased by 0.8% year-on-year in July. The largest negative annual growth rates were recorded for retailers in household furniture and appliances, as well as hardware and food and beverages. When looking at activity between June and July, retail trade sales went down by 11.2%, following a 0.7% monthly increase in June. Operations in the sector were disrupted by the looting and damage to property in parts of Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal in July. The sector was also affected by the third wave of COVID-19 infections in July that led to stricter lockdown restrictions impacting retail activity. The disruption to supply chains and the rebuilding process will likely negatively affect the sector's contribution to GDP in the third quarter. Well, to discuss the data further, I'm joined by Miyelani Mkhabela. He's the chief economist at Antswisa Transaction Advisory. Thank you very much, Miyelani, for joining us. So would you say that the impact of the civil unrest in July on the sector was quite visible in the data?
Thanks, and the viewers. We can confirm such, but at the same time, we have to look on the COVID-19 restrictions for the very same period. So it's not going to be us only looking on the riots that took place at, let's say, KZN deeply and KZN in Gauteng, but we have to look at other, consequences that we are not really in control of, which are COVID-19. But when you look on year-on-year basis, I think we are starting to see recovery. When you look at last year and you look at this year, the graphs. When you look at October, November, and December 2021, the sales were starting to be better. And then when you look at the past 4 months as well, the stats were better as well, but when you look at July, you see it as a month that has been affected the most, comparing with the past 4 months, and as well, looking at what has been happening in the rest of the year.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Miyelani. So would you say that July was merely a blip because of course, those riots and looting that we saw? And of course, it was a little bit of a double whammy in the sense that you had that and you had the greater restrictions. Do you think it was a blip? How do you see the fundamentals? How do you see the consumer going forward?
Post July, I'm expecting August to come up to be positive. August and September to be positive, because one, we are starting to see a lot of people getting vaccinated, and then when you look at restaurants, they're welcoming in different malls, maybe nice malls like your Rosebank and yours like your Central. They are starting to see people coming to the malls as opposed to the past, so that will assist. As people get vaccinated March, we will start to see as well change, because people will be positive to get back to the market. But when you look on the month of July, it has been really a shake, and the riots has impacted as well. Looking at the situation the past 4 months, the month of July and the future. So that month will surely be unique in terms of the impact, because it was dual impact, the riots and COVID-19 restrictions.
Yeah. How much of an underpin do you think government support measures will give to the economy, especially now that people will be able to get extended benefits right through until March of next year?
I think the government is doing better to what they can, looking at the economy and where we are coming from 2020. They are trying their best, and then I think what is expected the most is business. If private sector and investors can come from their coffers, take out something to the economy, I think that will really assist at the economy, because where we are facing much problem, it's mainly something that a private sector and institutional investors can help on, while government is continuing to help with whatever they can to help maybe the small businesses, and at the same time helping communities or people that are infected the most.
Yeah, of course, it's easy to say that, Miyelani, in terms of, let's get the investors in. But we know that business confidence remains quite low. And we know that statistically speaking, we have such a high unemployment rate. And where people do get an income, I suppose the first priority would be feeding themselves before anything else. So these are really serious scenarios in the backdrop in terms of seeing the economy move forward.
The South African economy remains a good economy. And when all the countries of the world are affected by COVID-19, there comes time where investors can really, apply a calculated risk and then, assist the economy to get back to, economic activity. Because where we are, if we are not getting those who have enough funds to invest in the system, will continue not to be recovering to the level expected. But like when we have other candidates or investors that are willing to open up and help the economy, then things will change. The situation that we are experiencing, it's not really an issue of business confidence just went down just like that, and investment confidence just went down. But these are realities that are present to everyone, and these are consequences that no one could have probably managed them better, because it's environmental or biological consequences that we are, working on. But this is the right time for investors, business to assist in taking the economy back to its root. While as well, society has to, comply or, take the encouragements to vaccination, because, we have a lot of key sectors: retail sector, tourism sector, and then the sports and entertainment sectors. These are the sectors that as well add in terms of retail outcomes. So when sports get back to filling the stadiums, and then people get to, entertainment back, it will assist the economy. But at the moment, we really need to, encourage our people to get vaccinated. Yes. And that as well, it will be helping.
Yeah. One last thing, Miyelani, what's your sense? I mean, the whole issue of mandatory vaccination is very controversial. At the moment, the government's saying it's not going down that route. But of course, sectors and employers do have the right to make their own determination in that regard. Do you see that happening in the retail sector? Especially, when it comes to sales, and we're all scrumming to try and get clothing and stuff, and we're all close next to each other. Do you think that those type of rules will be introduced?
I think the government has assisted in making sure that the processes are there, and then the president in all his statements has not forced people to be vaccinated. But it is advisable that people get vaccinated, because when we have a large number of people not vaccinated, it will be difficult for restaurants to open. But at the same time, people are infecting each other. So when we are, vaccinated, we will be better off from the challenges that we are facing. As people get vaccinated, the virus will have as well it will be weaker to a particular extent, as opposed to all people not vaccinated, and that will lead us to go to 2020, where we don't want to go into. But it will be good for people to get vaccinated. As to restrictions that will happen to people that are vaccinated and not vaccinated, I don't think I have a position around that. But it is advisable for people to get vaccinated so that they don't infect the people that are as well safe. So we really have to apply human rights well, rights for those who are vaccinated and rights for those who are not vaccinated. And the rights of all the people must not really affect like the others, but we need to save lives first. And the solution to save life, or the propositions to save life, it will be people getting vaccinated, because we have seen what happened 2020, and a lot of families that have lost their family members. We have seen that. So there is no additional data that people might need to be convinced about. South Africans have been vaccinated since they were born. We have been taking pharmaceutical procedures. Our health is good. I don't think there's a problem in that. I think we just need to trust trust the process, and then we'll get better as time goes on. And we can't really read negative information and think that information will change in our eyes.
Yeah, Miyelani,
there's a lot of negativity, and I think we need to start to clear negativity and look at correct information or correct data. And that part, people need to read the right information, of which is the information that is proven, and not really negative information that is booming, that probably can be.
Miyelani, sorry to cut you there, but thank you very much. I think you've impressed your view there very well. My colleague, my guest there, Miyelani Mkhabela, he's the chief economist at Antswisa Transaction Advisory. Absa Manufacturing